Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, you looking live at Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ. I tell you what, and we're back with another one. So I'm gonna play this video, this intro video. I'm gonna let it roll, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do something for our Super Bowl, our Saturday Night Live. We're gonna be talking about some Super Bowl memories and a lot of other things tonight. So just give me one moment. Let me get this playing, and we'll be back. I can't figure out why it's not playing. It's not live.
What's not playing?
The intro video. Just give me one moment. Let me see if I can do this way. All right. So, anyways, we're gonna have to work without the intro video today. I don't know why it's not working. But anyways, so you want to say what's up to the people and let them know what's going on and talk to
What's
them on
up?
Saturday?
What's up to the people? Welcome to our Saturday night show. We're gonna be putting the plane together in the air, like Law Nation says. What does he say all the time? Shout out to Law Nation, building the plane in the air
Yeah.
with this broadcast. So we're gonna just kind of go down a Super Bowl memory lane. So one of the things we're gonna do with our show. So I'm a third generation Cowboy fan. He's a fourth generation. So I'm the person that's seen every Super Bowl the Cowboys have played in. So I'm gonna just kind of walk through my recollections and memories of each one of the games that they've been in. So before we do that, you want to just start out with some of the news, kind of get people up to date what's going on with the coaches. What you think about the two offensive line coaches they hired? I mean, they look really, really good. The one from Arizona and the one from K-State.
Yeah. Do you hear the background music?
I can hear it.
Oh, you hear the background music. So you can hear
Yeah.
the intro too.
I couldn't hear the intro.
Oh, okay, but you can hear the background music.
I can.
I don't know why I can't. But let me see. Hold on, let me see. Now, you said what do I think? Hold on 1 second. I still can't hear anything. Let me
You hear
refresh.
that?
Let me refresh my screen to see if that helps. Shouldn't kick us off or anything.
So while you're doing that, can they still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about the coaches that the Cowboys hired. From one offensive line coach from Arizona Cardinals. He has a really good history of putting good offensive lines together, so we're excited about that. And then we also hired an offensive line coach from K-State, where Deuce Vaughn played. So he coached Cooper Beebe.
And Cooper Beebe. So, man, when I think about it, I can hear it now.
Okay.
Which made me wonder if I can hear the intro. You're putting the plane together in the air. Let me see. The Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk.
All right.
My dad, my partner, my co-host, CowboyJoe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah. That's really what this is gonna be about. All right. Yeah. So, man, like you said, man, they doing some outstanding hiring, and we always in the off season like this, we always try to find something to hold on to, or try to be positive or whatever. But I will say, in reality, in real life, these are some great hires that they're doing. And what you seeing is Shotty is really being the CEO. That's where he been. He being a good GM. That's where he been. Now, player personnel, that's gonna tell it all. That's gonna be where the rubber meets the road. To me, is what you're gonna see with player personnel. What you're gonna see with talent. With how they let him get involved with the talent that we have on the field. The Cowboys typically don't get aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And they don't be aggressive. And they have that philosophy even when it comes to the draft. A lot of times they don't get aggressive in the draft and go after solid stud players that they know are going to be game changers. So with Shotty at the helm of things, we're gonna see if he has an influence on player personnel and on scouting, because I think that's where the rubber meets the road, and that's what we need the most change on. Um, you got Will McClay signed his extension, so we're gonna see if Shotty has an influence on them in scouting, and you know what I'm saying, and see, because right now, I mean, his coaching staff that he put together, it's awesome. I mean, the worst hire that he have is the defensive coordinator, and he's a good coordinator from what I'm hearing. So we gonna see. You know, you can kind of tell he really wasn't feeling that job in Chicago. He wasn't all the way there. But I'm talking about the offensive coordinator for K-State is now on our staff.
His name is Connor Riley. That's his name. I
Connor
couldn't think of his name.
Connor Riley, which means that you got a Cooper Beebe, and he's an offensive line coach. So you got Cooper Beebe. He knows Cooper Beebe. He knows Deuce Vaughn. He knows, he was an offensive coordinator at K-State. So that's great. And then you already got a great your offensive coordinator that you hired, that's also a great hire, because he was the running backs coach or offensive line coach at Arizona. And they had one of the best running time. I mean, these guys, I like the fact that we don't know these guys and we having to research about them and figure out who they are. And then when we figure out who they are, it checks out. That's what I like. You know what I mean? It checks out. So I think, like you said, Shotty might have got it right Jerry might have got it right this time. That's yet to be seen, because it's so many things that can go wrong, because it's so many things that it's so many things that they do that's unpopular, like how they draft, and how they approach free agency and how they approach trades. So it's gonna be interesting to see how many things they can get right as far as hiring coaches and developing a staff. They check those boxes right now. Micah needs to be signed. They need to check that box. They also, which really, I keep saying that Micah should be signed by now, but free agency is going to determine. That's when right now you in the green. Well, no, right now you in the yellow, because you could have signed Michael last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown and a couple more other players, Patrick Surtain, they got their money already. So Micah could have his. So you would have been in the green if you would have did that. Now you're in the yellow right now. Now you're gonna get to the red if free agency comes and goes and Michael still hasn't been signed, because that means that they doing the same old. But we gonna see. I think that they're not gonna set up Shotty for failure. So I think that Shotty gonna have some influence on the way that they draft, the way that they do free agency, and the way that they trade for players if they do talent coordination.
So the other coach was Clayton Adams. He's from Arizona. So they're kind of really the gurus of the running game in the NFL here lately. So they have a lot of different things that they do that's going to take our running game to the next stage. So, Emmett, he kind of confused some people with his comments on media row at the Super Bowl, but I think they're trying to put together a staff that's going to feature the running game. So that just screams, Genty with the first pick, or, if you want to draft one of the running backs from Ohio State in the second or third round. But bottom line is, we're going to be a much better team physically at the point of attack running the football. And so I think I'm really excited, like you are, about what Shotty's doing on that side. Then with the Eberflus, we just got to wait and see how it comes together, how it plays out. I think the thing I think about the defensive coaches is everybody that signs a deal with Dallas, all of the coaches know, the spotlight is on them, so you're going to get their best coaching. Eberflus, after what happened in Chicago, you're going to get the best coaching of whatever he has. He's going to come in and listen to Micah, and he's going to figure out exactly how to use him. So I think at the end of the day, we're going to be good. And he's been here before, so he kind of knows the environment. He is a linebacker guru. So whoever our linebackers are, they're going to be top notch. I mean, they're gonna play well, and then Micah, I can see him just kind of moving around like he normally does. So we're gonna be pretty good shape there, I think.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and I think
go ahead.
Emmett was a little tipsy.
I don't know if he was tipsy. You know, Emmett does that. He'll just kind of step out there and not really sure which way he's going. And but I think what he was trying to say was we don't run the football. We're not committed to it. So he was saying, what are we going to do with a back if we're not committed to running the ball? Which that's been true. McCarthy, that's one of his downfalls is he just refused to run it. He criticized Kellen for not running it, and he came in and did the exact same thing. He didn't use Rico most of the season till Dad got injured, and so. But
No, so what I want to see, when in the Cowboys, I don't care what nobody says, we kind of had, no, a lot of these teams, especially the good teams, especially like the teams in the 90s and the teams and the good teams in the 2000s. Every good team, especially every good team that has a dynasty, but every good team, they have something that they can do that you just can't stop no matter what. Like, in the 90s, they had, they could run and you just couldn't stop them. They had the best offensive line in the NFL history. And they had one of the best backs ever. So, and they also had an outside, a crazy outside threat, Hall of Fame outside threat. So it was just some stuff that they could do that you just could not stop. It's just like with the Eagles right now. They've been doing this tush push thing. If they need 1 or 2 yards or 2 or 3 yards, you cannot stop that. It's just not no way. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Travis
or
Kelce
Saquon.
or Saquon. And they have a legit outside threat. You know what I'm saying? In the AJ. So it's just like with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. It's just Andy Reid's offense. It just seems like no matter what you do, it's just certain facets of it that you cannot stop. No matter what, no matter what, Travis Kelce is going to be open, or somebody's going to be open. Doesn't matter. They can just substitute Tyreek Hill for what's his name that they got. Well, they did Sky Moore. Then he didn't pan out. Then they did Rashid Rice, and then they got who is it, Xavier Worthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, those receivers, they just subbing them in and out, in and out, in and out, but they be wide open, and it ain't nothing you can do about it, and then also, Spagnuolo is a hell of a coordinator, and he got Chris Jones, and it's just on some plays you just can't do anything. It's just like with the Rams when they had Aaron Donald. It's just like the last play of the game, when the game is on the line, he coming, he coming, and he gonna get there. It is really nothing you can do about it. The Cowboys don't have that. Now, last year, we could have had that. We had that last year, not last year, but the year before last. We had that with CD and Dak. It just seemed like no matter what, teams could not stop CD. They just couldn't. It just seemed like they could not stop Dak and CD, the tandem. It's just like they just couldn't. For instance, like in the Lions game. The Lions had us. They had us back down on like the 1 yard line at the beginning of the game. They could have really, really, really influenced the game. And everybody knows we got one player that's gonna get the ball for sure, and that's CD. And what happened? CD hit him. Dak hit CD for a bomb, 80-yard, 90-yard touchdown, 95-yard touchdown. It's just nothing they can do about it. So
yeah,
it's we don't really have that right now. So that's what Emmett was kind of saying, that we're not built to run the ball like that. I mean,
we're not committed to it.
We're not committed to it. I mean, we still got offensive line problems. We don't know who our left tackle really is. We got Tyler Guyton in there, and you really don't. You kind of just
So one thing with these hires that they just made, I can tell you this: our offensive line, they are going to have to step up and meet the moment. So these coaches, they don't have no patience for execution, good play, physicality. That's what these two coaches are going to bring. So, man, I'm really excited about the two coaches that we hired, what they're going to bring, and then Shadi. uh, later this week, I went back and just looked at some old NFL films of Marty Schottenheimer. I got one I want to show you, man. You just watch this film of his dad. In the film is doing his pregame speeches, and of course, he had that reputation all throughout the league. But I hadn't watched him in a while, so I'm gonna have you watch this Marty Schottenheimer old footage. It'll just fire you up just listening to him talk. He was that kind of coach. I think and we got to talk about Darren Woodson right quick. So the NFL Hall of Fame committee, they just do a lot of goofy stuff with the way they do this. And where I was going with that is, at some point, Marty Schottenheimer, he's going to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. He's going to get on that Veterans Committee, and they're going to vote him in. And what's so weird about this Hall of Fame is, okay, so Mike Shanahan has 2 Super Bowl rings, and he's responsible for John Elway getting his 2 rings. John Elway wouldn't have a ring if it wasn't for Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan has 2 Super Bowl championships, and he's not in. And then they put Jimmy in. It took a while to put Jimmy in. He has 2. And then it's another coach. I think I didn't see the veteran committees that made it. Or did they announce that later? Because I just saw the 4 modern players, but they're doing a lot of weird stuff with the inductions with the players and the coaches. They put Mike Holmgren on the thing to be put in. Mike Holmgren has one ring, and Tony Dungy is in. He has 1 Super Bowl. Of course, he made history being the first black coach to win it. So obviously that's the reason. But with Darren Woodson, it's just, once again, they're doing goofy stuff. They put 4 modern players in. They can put in 5. For some reason, they put in 4. So they left Darren Woodson off. I think Darren Woodson should have made, and I think Luke Kuechly should have made on the list that I looked at. And then, of course, Torrey Holt. So I think those 3. Eric Allen, just no way he should have got in. And so it was just they just keep doing this thing that they do. They're just playing games.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, it's they playing games. I mean, and a lot of this stuff, it's just kind of like, at this point, it's kind of expected. We kind of used to it now. At this point, It's kind of like they're doing that on purpose. And I mean,
it's like they playing a game. It's like they're messing with people's heads.
Yeah, and we know what they're doing. We know Darren Woodson is a Hall of Famer. Just like we knew Drew Pearson was a Hall of Famer. It's just whatever they want to do. I just don't. At this point, it's just kind of like you can't give them any. I'm not giving them any energy. It's just like I'm not gonna look into you all's games. Luke Kuechly, should be in the Hall of Fame. Darren Woodson should be a Hall of Fame. They do Cowboys.
Torrey Holt should be in.
Torrey Holt should be in the end, especially Isaac Bruce is in, Kurt Warner is in, Marshall Faulk is in. Yeah. So all the whole decade team is in. So it's just like they really are biased towards Cowboy players. I mean, it's just obvious. I mean, it's just like some of these things. It was just like it's bad. It's bad to say, oh, the league is biased or the league is cheating on certain things. But
just like DeMarcus Ware, there's no way he shouldn't have been a first ballot.
It's no way, and then but like I said, some of these things is just like, it is what it is. They're doing what they're doing on purpose, and they are cheating in some areas. It's just like everyone is talking about right now. Patrick Mahomes getting the calls and stuff. I mean, that's obvious that that's happening. I mean, it's not like they're not people are not making this up. You know what I mean? Like we seen when it was 4th and 1 or whatever it was when Josh Allen. We seen it clearly as day that the receipt that the referee totally misplaced the ball. We seen it on TV. You can rewind it and look at it. It's just like.
Yeah, one of the referees, he had it marked as a first down. Yeah, but they were not even across the field.
Correct. It's just like the Saints game when the dude did a pass interference. That was clearly a pass interference, and they shouldn't have been in. They shouldn't have won that game because of that. Just like with the Dez catch, it was clearly a catch, and they shouldn't have won that game. I mean, that's just it. I mean, it's like the NFL, they do stuff like that, and and we just seen the NBA do something like that. It's no way. It's no way that they should have traded Luka Doncic. It just doesn't make any sense for the Mavericks. None whatsoever.
So
So
what
that,
actually happened with AD? So he just did he pull a muscle again?
I don't know. It don't. It's just some. He said it's not nothing serious, but I mean,
So how did they just look overall?
they look good. Cannot score on them in the paint at all, especially
Well,
not with AD and Gafford down there. That ain't happening. Can't score on them in the paint.
At least you watched the game. I didn't think you was gonna watch it.
I mean, I only just peeped in on it because it was everybody was ranting and raving about how stout they was in the paint. But I mean, it's just like what the league did, and I'm saying the league now. What the league did with this, and what Nico did with this, and what all of the powers that be, all of the billionaires in the league, they definitely took away a piece of basketball for me, at least for a lot of fans. But they messed up this. The only people that doesn't benefit from this, the only people that really took the brunt of the end is the fans. And so,
Yep.
we really are suffering because of that, and it just is what it is. It's just like, I guess he was too good enough to play for Dallas. That's pretty much
Yeah,
what they
and
said.
I told you earlier, what kind of really disappointed me is like they treated us like we're not a first-rate franchise. It's like we're the Orlando Magic or the Atlanta Hawks. You don't just come in and take your franchise player and do that. So it just seems like Nico and the owner, they didn't really understand the Dallas fandom, the Mavs fans, and just the overall history of the team. And they just like Dirk, all the history we had, just the franchise. But that's what happens when you sell your team. And the way Mark Cuban sold the team, it was kind of weird how that all went down. And for him to sell the team, and he told people that they didn't even talk to him. Now he's one of the minority owners still, but they didn't get his input at all. Obviously, they didn't talk to. It sounds like the people in the front office, they didn't get their input. And it seems like I heard someone say that Michael Finley was upset about it. So obviously they didn't talk to him. So this whole thing, man, it's just like a double cross, but it is what it is. We just gotta keep on moving.
I think it was a political aspect to it too. Because what Mark Cuban, what he's about, and then what this family is about. It was just like a stab in the back. Not talking to him about that. It's just like everything. Everything doesn't make sense to where it makes sense perfectly. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a negative when a negative.
And then Nico, he's not gonna be able to show his face. It's gonna be a long time. Now he shouldn't be getting death threats and all of that, but that's just how just over the top this whole thing is. And you got people in front of the arena today with a coffin and
somebody pulled up with a billboard that said "Nico, fire Nico."
Well, we saw the billboard today. Me and your mom, we drove right by it.
So it's just like this is gonna be and then Bleacher Report came out and the NBA came out and they did after the trade deadline, they did the grades. Every single person, I'm talking about the NBA, Bleacher Report, ESPN, everyone gave Dallas an F. An F minus.
Should have been, should have been an F minus.
It was. That's what they was giving them, F minuses. So it's just like it doesn't make any sense.
And then the Lakers, they did another trade with their pick, and all of the players that they traded for, they should have been on our team. They shouldn't even had that pick to trade. That they had that. They kept their number one pick, but they had two.
Yeah, because they couldn't guarantee Luka was going to re-sign with them, and so it's like even that right there, and then on top
can Luka? Is there a way? And I've asked some people this week, and nobody has really clarified it. So he's not required to re-sign with the Lakers in the offseason. So if he opts out of re-signing with them, can he re-sign with Dallas, or are there like salary cap, or will he have to be traded back to Dallas? Can he freely sign with Dallas? I don't think he can.
I don't know. I thought he would go to the highest bidder if he doesn't sign. If he doesn't, I don't know. I have to look that up. That's a good question. I don't know, but all I know is that
because they were talking about if he doesn't sign with the Lakers, he's probably going to try to hook up with the Jokic at Denver.
It makes sense.
That's one of his best friends. So, but I would say, if there's a way to get him back, obviously Nico would have to be fired, and I'm just wondering, is there a way to do that, or is there some type of rule that says he can't re-sign with Dallas? So we got to research that out.
Yeah, it's just real sad, and it's just not even, it's just not, like I said, it's just not. It's just, it's franchise suicide, man. They just really just didn't care about the fans. They basically just said, "Hey, man, we need the Lakers to be good for the ratings, and this is what we're gonna do." This is not up for debate, and so we gotta, it sucks, but it is what it is, and I've never seen anything like this in my life. They say this is probably the worst trade in history of sports.
Yep, and that's something that Nico is gonna have to live with. So let's go ahead and get into our show. So what I wanted to do, as I said, I'm a third generation Cowboy fan, so I wanted to go back and look at all of the Super Bowls that Dallas has played in. Just kind of give you my history of just with those games. I was there watching each one of them. We're gonna talk about that. So I sent you that first clip with the one on Bob Lilly. So, and again, we're kind of producing in the air. So on that Bob Lilly one, pull that one up, and you're gonna go to 210 on that one. And so while you're setting that up, so if you guys think about like the Buffalo Bills, the last just pause it right there. So the Buffalo Bills, I want you to think about this. So some of this stuff I'm just going to be kind of giving you the history of as well. So the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, they made it to the AFC Championship game a couple of times and had been able to get all the way through. So the Cowboys in the late 60s, that was kind of their thing. They went to 3 NFC Championship games in a row, and they couldn't make it through. And they were actually called next year's champions. That's what their nickname was. And so, they finally had their breakthrough, and they made it to Super Bowl 5. So go ahead and just roll that right there. Hopefully we can hear the audio.
Beginning in 1966, the Cowboys made the playoffs 5 straight years, including 3 championship games, but couldn't win it all. Following Super Bowl 5, the frustration of Dallas's defensive star turned photographer was captured in an indelible image.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw a football helmet that far.
Freeze it right there.
That's what made the championship against Miami the next year.
And then you can just stop it right there. So Super Bowl 5 was their first Super Bowl. They had made it to 3 NFC Championship games in a row, and they finally got through. So Super Bowl 5, when it was played, I was 6 years old. So we watched the game at Nana's house, Miss Green. Miss Lillian Green. That's the Miss Green, So she had another friend named Miss Sally Green. So we were actually at Miss Sally Green's house watching the game. So, being 6 years old, the game was on, and I was just kind of like Jules is now. I knew the game was on. I really wasn't just sitting down watching it. But, when big plays happen, I can kind of tell what was going on. And then they lost at the end on a field goal. And so that video you just saw was Bob Lilly at the end of the game. One of the iconic photos or videos that you have is he threw his helmet like 60 yards. He just took his helmet off and threw it up in the air because they had been there so many times, just like Josh Allen, and they couldn't get through. So that was Super Bowl 5. That was 1970. So I was 6 years old at the time. And then the following year was Super Bowl 6 when they played Miami. You can go ahead and roll that.
So rewarding for all of us because we'd been so close for so many years. Bob Lilly just dominated a game the sacking of Bob Greasy was, one of the big plays.
So just pause it can you pause it? So what you're looking at here, so Bob Lilly, we saw that photo of him throwing his helmet in Super Bowl V. He was just so frustrated. The big play in Super Bowl VI was him chasing down Bob Greasy. It was like a 20, 30-yard sack. That's what you're looking at right there. So Bob Lilly, the following year, he came back in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl VI, it was played in New Orleans outside. So it was the coldest Super Bowl ever played at that point. It was 39 degrees. So go ahead and roll that.
The Cowboys finally won their championship.
So go ahead and pause it.
The man called Mr. Cowboy.
So Super Bowl VI, I watched that game. We were at my grandmother's on Webster. That's where we watched the game at. So again, Super Bowl VI, again at young age, I kind of knew what was happening. I watched the game and then just remember them winning and remember them, holding, lifting Coach Landry up in the air. And I do recall watching the post game. So, they won the Super Bowl. It didn't really have that much impact on me at the time. So they finally, punched through and was able to win one. And so that's kind of like my experience there. So that was Super Bowl VI. So the next one is Super Bowl X. So see if you can pull that one up. So Super Bowl X is the Cowboys and the Steelers in their first matchup, this iconic matchup with these two teams. Now, Super Bowl X was in 1976. So at that point, I was 12 years old when this one happened. And we watched this game on Briarcliff. That's where we were on this one. Now, this game right here, I was 12 years old. I really got the impact of this game. So this is the opening kickoff.
The game was set from the start. Dallas's reverse on the opening kickoff surprise.
So on that one right there, just stop that one. I wanted to show you something. So go all the way to the beginning. I just want to. So before you do that, so this guy is talking. A lot of the OGs that's watching this video, or some of the OGs, there's a guy that did NFL films. His name was John Facenda, and his nickname was the voice of God, or the voice. So you know how we have I'm losing my train of thought. Darth Vader's voice.
James Earl Jones.
So James Earl Jones. That voice was the NFL films. James Earl Jones was a guy named John Facenda. So he did all of the NFL films, and so it was like a real big deal the way he spoke and the way he talked. So on these highlights, you're hearing John Facenda. That's the voice of NFL film. So go ahead and just roll that one in and listen to what he's saying, what they're talking about at the beginning of this game, and what they say about Tom Landry. So go ahead and play this one.
The Roman numeral classic known as Super Bowl X was to be witnessed not only by the 80,187 in the Orange Bowl, but well over 80 million TV viewers, the largest audience in television history. The pre-game festivities merely stoked the fires to the main attraction, the two finest teams in professional football. The surprising Dallas Cowboys were the Cinderella team of the NFL. Relegated to the purgatory of rebuilding before the season began, Dallas parlayed a new spirit and some last-minute miracles into a storybook season that would culminate with this, their third visit to the Super Bowl. While Dallas needed miracles to reach the summit, Pittsburgh had few pitfalls along the way. For the Steelers had gone from Cinderella status to establishment powerhouse in a single year. Standing between them and a second Super Bowl victory was the master of innovation, Tom Landry. With Landry's slide rule mind on the sidelines and Roger Staubach on the field, Dallas has a nearly unbeatable combination. for Starbuck personifies the quarterback as a leader, and his talent is indisputable. His counterpart in Pittsburgh is that famed country singer Terry Bradshaw. With a statue of Super Bowl IX's Tiffany trophy behind him, the new Bradshaw is confident and mature. Two teams, both with strong young quarterbacks, but one major difference: Pittsburgh's great steel curtain defense. In all of football, there is no match for it. Super Bowl X, like the 9 others before it, had an abundance of pageantry and pizzazz. But for the first time, the carnival of color was completely overshadowed by the game itself. For Super Bowl X was the most exciting Super Bowl ever.
So stop it right there. Okay, so what I kind of want to illustrate here. So Super Bowl X was really when the Super Bowl, as you know it, became the Super Bowl. When these two teams played, you see the video there says the best ever. So this is when that game really became big. When these two teams matched up, and so you could feel it. I was 12 years old. You knew it was just a huge game. Every play, you were sitting on the edge of your seat. People was jumping up and down, screaming. That's the first time I ever watched Super Bowl like that and just really kind of felt it. And so it was a very good game. And they were showing some of the big plays Lynn Swann made. And he made a couple of big plays. And the cornerback was a guy named Mark Washington. He had him covered every time. He just made the play. You couldn't cover him any better than he did. But just a huge game. So go to 4, start it again and go to 457. So this is the first. You can go back just a little bit. Just go ahead and play it right there. Go ahead and play. So this is the play that Drew scored on.
Play fake, and Dallas's decoys cleared the middle. Drew Pearson filled the void, gathered in a perfect pass from Jolly Roger, and was free.
So I remember this play when it happened. Just a big play. So that was
the Steelers were
Super Bowl X.
It was the only touchdown they permitted in the first quarter of the entire season, a total of 17 games.
So you can go ahead and stop that.
It made it look.
So this was the first, and the guy said 2 things that caught my attention and caught yours. 80 million people watched the game. That was the most watched game in the history of television at that time. That was just an unbelievable number. And then 80 million people. So just a huge game. Of course, Pittsburgh won it. The score was 21-17. It was tight game all the way. And one of the things I want to illustrate as we go through this, we always talk about how many Super Bowls the Cowboys have. They have 5, but Super Bowl 5, Dwayne Thomas fumbled the ball on the 1-yard line. They would have won the game. So you would be at 6 Super Bowls right now. And then Super Bowl 13, which you're going to talk about next. So go ahead and pull up 13. And so Tom Landry, and I hope you caught where he said Tom Landry was an innovator. You heard that. So that was his calling card. He was the innovator. So that's what we really need to. That's what Andy Reid is doing. That's what all the Shanahans are doing. McVay. That's what Schottenheimer is going to have to bring back to the Cowboy. That's what he's going to have to do. We've been missing that innovation for probably almost 20 years.
Yeah, we haven't had no innovation in a long time. You said Super Bowl 13. Did you send it to me?
Yeah, I sent you. Let me see. Let me see.
Oh yeah, I see it.
It's got like a little yellow thing on the beginning. So Super Bowl 10 was big. I still say the best one ever was 13. I mean, that's when it just went next level. It was Hall of Famers across the board. And you're going to hear John Facenda describe the two teams at the beginning. John Facenda, man, it just gives you goosebumps hearing him. NFL films is what made the NFL the NFL. And I told you before, in the 60s, the number one sport was baseball. But the Cowboys and the Steelers, they made the NFL the number one sport, especially the Cowboys in the 70s. That's when the NFL just took over. So go on this one right here. Yeah, go to the beginning. So listen to the illustration again.
With the New England Patriots. He intercepted an NFL
forward
record
that.
4
No,
passes in a single
not
game
it.
during
So
his
go,
second season.
you might have to
But
fast
none
forward.
were more historic than the one he picked off in Super Bowl 11.
And was so
That's not the one I sent you. So let me see. Just pop that.
Buried the Cowboys
you the
under
right
an
one?
angry avalanche of.
Hold on one second.
In the very first play, Super Bowl 12 was a coach's night.
That's 12. Just stop that. Yeah. So go back to I'm gonna send it to you again. So we producing on the air.
Yeah. So good.
So 13, it has it's kind of like an aqua color icon in the middle of it. So Super Bowl 13 was still to this day, I think, was the best one ever. You know, we've had some really good ones with New England, and the Giants Bills was really good, but you see it?
Yeah, this is saying that this one is Super Bowl 28.
Hold on one second. Yeah, that's 28. You can stop that. So we'll come back to that one. Hold on one second. I got to figure out what I did with 13. Hold on one second. I do have it.
I have it. I got it. Hold on, let me see. I got it. Here we go.
So Super Bowl 13, we were living in our house on Spruce Valley over by Kimball. So we watched this one there. Uncle Bobby and some of the other people were over. And this one was one of the all-time indelible. Oh, I know what happened is we skipped 12. That's what we're doing. Sorry about that. So you had 12 up. So you need to do 12 first. So go back to Super Bowl 12. Sorry about that. So go back to 12. So just remember that one. So you need to go back to 12. So they went from 5, 6, 10, and then 12. I don't know how I skipped 12. And 12 should be the last one I sent you. That's what you were showing earlier. This is 12. So on this one, so you can just pause it. So Super Bowl 12, this one I watched at Uncle Bobby's place. They lived over in DeSoto. And so Super Bowl 12, where they were the best team the entire year. That's when the league was at 14 games. So they went 12-2. They had the best team all year long. Tony Dorsett was the rookie. He had won the Heisman the year before. So on this one, you can just kind of go all the way to the end. So this was they were playing the Denver Broncos. This was their first time being in the championship, in the Super Bowl. So just kind of drag it to the end. Go back up a little bit. Oh, just stop it right. You can go ahead and play it right there. So this one, the game really wasn't close. They kind of dominated for the most part from the beginning to the end. Just watching this game, I never felt that they were going to lose. They just dominated the defense. That was the doomsday defense, and they were just. This was, if you ask me, even the '90s teams, their '77 team was the best team they had. I think this was the best team, and the '77 team. So, as I said, they had gotten Tony Dorsett as the rookie, and they were just. So this is Robert Newhouse throwing the game-winning catch. He threw the ball, perfect spiral. The Golden Richards. That was a game, put the game away. And so Robert Newhouse, who I actually met him a couple of times, he passed away. So, but yeah, this was Super Bowl 12. So, just a dominating performance. And again, just watching this one, it was one of them games when when the game starts, you're going to win. It's no doubt about it. And so they're talking about the pass that Newhouse threw. And the thing about this play right here, before the game, they had him practice throwing the ball, but the Broncos didn't notice it. He was just over on the sideline throwing it, and nobody noticed that he was throwing it, and they called a play. So I like this one right here, kind of at the end when they lift Tom Landry up. This is one of his, great moments as a coach. So this one right here, just vividly remember watching it every snap. I watched the whole game, just sit there and watched it, just like the other one. So
perhaps the best explanation of Super Bowl 12 came from Denver's Jim Turner. We were out there thinking about winning, he said, and they were out there thinking about football. The man doing all the thinking was Tom Landry, who once again delivered an entertaining lesson in winning football. In Super Bowl 12, it was a lesson on how a superbly conditioned team of eager athletes can pry open a tough, hard-hitting game and extract from it the stuff of victory.
That's it. So this game was unique because you had co-MVPs, Harvey Martin and Randy White. That was the first time that ever happened. So they were co-MVPs of the game, Harvey Martin and Randy White. So there's Coach Landry there. Dominating performance, and then so now you can play 13. So in the 70s, the Cowboys played in 5 Super Bowls. So just think about that. As we sit here now with 30 years, no Super Bowl, no NFC Championship game.
And Jerry was nowhere around.
Well, he was in Arkansas. He was watching it just like we were, but it didn't really mean a whole lot to him. So the Arkansas thing, that's kind of what happened to the Mavericks. You done sold a team to somebody that's not even rooted here. That's how this trade happened.
In 1978, the Steelers, coached by Chuck Noll,
okay, you can let this play,
and the Cowboys, coached by Tom Landry, again were conference champions and won the right to meet in the 13th Super Bowl. It seemed fitting that the last Super Bowl of the 1970s would match the two teams who have dominated the decade.
though. You can stop this one. So this game right here, it's another close game. The final score was 35-31. And the biggest player of the game was Jackie Smith. They were getting ready to tie the game up. He was wide open in the end zone and dropped the ball. So this was probably the one of the tough ones. So we talked about all the tough losses the Cowboys have had. This was a tough one right here. Just losing this one because they had it. The big player of this game, and then you can go to the next one I sent, which should be 27. So the big play in this game right here, Super Bowl 13, was a play. It was two plays: a Jackie Smith drop, and it was another play. One of the Cowboys corners, Benny Barnes, he was covering Lynn Swann. They were running side by side, and Lynn Swann broke to his right, and Lynn Swann went to the left, and they tripped each other. Basically, is what happened. And they threw an interference, threw a flag. And it was just an inadvertent, today's game, it wouldn't be a flag. And after that play, they changed the rule. And that was a huge play in the game. And then, so the next ones, we're not going to play all of them. We're just going to show this first one. And this is Michael Jackson at halftime. I want to talk about this. And so we talk about halftime now. With the performance that we've had, Beyonce, Usher, and all of those people, this was the first time the Super Bowl had done this. So he set the stage for what we're seeing now. So this game right here, this is when the halftime show came about because he was the first one to do it, and then it just took off from there.
No, it's crazy how they had those other guys that had to be other guys that looked just like him to do that when they popped up on that side and that side because they looked just like him, had the motion down and everything.
So fast forward a little bit
because he definitely just stood still for like 15
minutes. He stood there forever. that was weird. So yeah, this one right here. So I think at the time, this was the most watched Super Bowl ever as well. So he definitely changed the game with this performance, and just so happened that the Cowboys were playing. So go back to the Super Bowl 27 video I sent you. Then we'll kind of wrap up with this. So all of the Cowboy Super Bowls, I was able to watch all of them, and I think I mentioned to you before. So this 30-year drought that we have was really crazy. So you 35, well you 36 now, right? I had to think about you guys' age. I was telling your sister that today. So happy birthday, Lolly girl.
Happy birthday to Lolly Jizzle.
Lolly Jizzle and the new puppy.
Yeah,
and
Mars.
Is it MARS or MARZ?
I don't know, but it's Mars, like the planet.
So where did she get that name from?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't know where she got that name from.
And he's black.
Said,
I didn't know he was black.
She was gonna name him Domino, and his nickname was gonna be Big Six. But
so just go back to the beginning of this one. So now the next three Super Bowls, so 27, 28, and 30.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Me and your Uncle Eric, we went all the way, to the wall with these teams. We were at a lot of the games, the NFC Championship games. So this is when they came back and got it going again and made a great run, won 3 out of 4. This is where it all started right here. So now, do you remember watching these games at all? Because this one right here was 92. So you were, of course, you probably you don't because you were born in 89. So yeah, you.
Nah, I don't remember this game in particular.
Yeah. So that's Coach Davis, your coach in high school right there.
Yep.
So this is Emmett and Mike at the beginning of the game.
Just the game he got stood up on the line.
Yeah. So this is a game right here. You know, I watched this game. I also kind of the first half was interesting. You know, just for a little while, but it was pretty obvious what was going down, and you know, we were just a way better team, and they had lost the prior 2 years. Buffalo had lost to the Giants and the Redskins, so they lost 4 straight Super Bowls to NFC East teams. So
Cowboys, who were hoping to win their first championship in 15 years.
So Super Bowl 27 and 28. This one was in LA. The next one was in Atlanta, and I think I was at Uncle Eric's house for all of these games. The Super Bowl 30 was probably the closest, but it just got interesting for a minute there. So
I saw immediately what had happened.
Yeah. It was a blowout.
The Chiefs, they going for 3 in a row. So you can go ahead and pause it. And the crazy thing about it is, you know, we could have won 3 in a row, except for Jimmy and Jerry. And it seems like listening to the players on Media Row, they all still kind of upset with Jimmy and Jerry about that. Moose Johnson, Daryl. I heard a couple of interviews with Troy. He's talked about it. So they really just talking about it, I guess, because they know what's finna happen. The Chiefs got a chance to win, you know, 3 straight, and it was right there for them to do it.
But Jimmy and Jerry couldn't get on the same page.
Yeah, and they both were at fault. So it's on them. So, but yeah, so what I was saying earlier, I just thought about it. When I was 35 years old, I had seen the Cowboys playing 8 Super Bowls. Think about that. By my 35th birthday, and I think we counted 17 NFC Championship games. Now I didn't see all of those, but that's how many NFC Championship games they had. Because you know they lost 3 in a row, 3 NFC Championship games in a row, from like 1960 to 1968 to 1971, 70. So
yeah,
but yeah, just think about that. I had, by the time I turned 35, 8 Super Bowls, 8. And then unfortunately, Tom Landry, he went 2 and 3. He definitely should have been 3 and 2, and he could have been 4 and 1 in those games. So that's kind of crazy. So, and the 49ers, if you think about the 49ers, they have 5. They could easily have 8 because they lost to the Ravens. They were on the goal line when they threw that ball to Crabtree at the end. And the 2 they lost to to Kansas City, they could have easily won them. They were ahead in both games. So they could be 8. They could have 8 rings right now, and so
they would be leading the way.
Yeah, and it's just so. Look, I hope that Shotty just kind of looking at some of the history, just kind of sitting back saying, you know, he was there with his dad, because his dad was right there too. His dad went to 3 AFC Championship games, and 2 of them he should have won.
I think Shotty is prepared, and I think he's gonna do a good job.
Yeah. So you think he gonna have the innovation that we looking for?
Possibly, yeah. Well, I don't think it won't be him that have it. I think it'll be one of these coaches that they hiring that's gonna have it.
Yeah, this offensive line, that's what we need. We need the innovation, the change up. This because just watching those 2 guys in their background, I mean, it looks really good what they do. And a lot of people are talking about this running back from K-State, might be a sleeper. I can't think of his name. If you so Tankathon, they only do the top 100, so he's like rated in the 4th round. And,
okay, so he's not on Tankathon.
Yeah, he's not, but he might, after the combine. So they're saying the Cowboys could target him, but he's a starting running back. He's a big back.
DJ Giddens.
Yeah, pull up his film. So, I mean, right there
there from the cornerbacks these days is something that a coordinator has to have in mind, where they're going to find.
He got some get up. Look like
And people were saying he run kind of high.
he do run high, but I mean he moving though.
Kind of look like Zeke where he run. Or he can catch it out of the backfield too. Yeah, if he's there, they probably gonna take him. And I was gonna ask you this: they talking about they might move BB back to guard. I mean, what do you think about that?
I like that idea because I mean he's good. That's a position that he played in college, right? No, he played center in college.
No, he played guard.
No, he played guard. Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
he started out as center.
I like that idea. I just want to know who they'll get to play center.
Well, that's what they were saying. They would have to get it's some kind of free agent center that people are talking about. So
is it the one from Arizona?
I don't know. And what's really surprising too, and I really put a lot of value in Vach and Broaddus. So Vach and Broaddus, they're just not that impressed with Hoffman. And you know, I thought Hoffman played pretty well, but they don't think he's a 17-game starter. And they definitely don't like Guyton. It's just like So what do you think about? So what do you think about Hoffman just staying at guard and BB staying at center?
I mean, I thought Hoffman was playing okay, and who else was coming in and playing with Hoffman that was playing good?
I can't think of the other guy's name.
Yeah, but I thought one of them was gonna play. BB, he's a natural guard. You know, he did center this year, and he did good at it. But he's a natural guard. So you know, you want to put him at guard where he's natural at because you got a Hall of Famer leaving there. And center, you're just gonna have to get one in free agency. If you can find whichever free agent you can find, then they do the opposite. If you can find a free agent center, move him to guard. If you can find a free agent guard, leave him at center. But that's how I would move about it, because if you put him at guard, he gonna be running people over.
And that's kind of what Vach and Broaddus think. So and then I still think Asim Richards is a better left tackle. But what I was conversating with some guys on Twitter, including Outlaw and Outlaw Cowboy, shout out to him. And so they were just talking about it. This needs to be competition. Competition needs to return back to our team. That's what made our teams in the 90s great. It was just competition. If you were a starter, Jimmy was always looking for somebody to compete with you. And so that's what we got away from. We keep hearing people talk about this culture. What really hurt our culture is Jason Garrett and Wade Phillips. It was 13 years. I almost said 13 years of famine. But it's just 13 years of just
right type of guys and all
right type of guys. Just the culture, this culture everybody's talking about. That's what had ruined the Cowboys culture. Was Jason Garrett, Wade Phillips, that whole thing. And then Parcells, he came in and turned it around. And then Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett, what Parcells built. You know, Parcells had some physical lines too. And it was somebody that I was listening to the other day, one of the content creators, and he said something that I said this myself, and he said it the other day, was that 2007 team that lost to the Giants, we went 13-3. If Parcells had remained as the coach of that team punches through. That team gets to the Super Bowl. It's just no doubt about it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, that, you know, the Giants went on to win the whole thing, but that was our year right there.
Yeah, and we had beat them twice during the regular season, and it really wasn't even close.
Yeah, but I felt like when watching that game, I just felt like it was no way that the Giants was gonna beat us.
Well, the thing about that game that people don't talk about is you got to remember T.O. he had an ankle injury right before the game.
Yeah, but he shot up. You know, I thought he was gonna be good.
He wasn't. If he had been 100%, we don't lose that game. And so, but yeah, that was just so the culture. People keep talking about the culture. The culture is what Jason Garrett and Wade Phillips put on this team. You know, that's why Jason Witten was able to hang around as long as he was, because they just basically said, we're not gonna let nobody compete with you. We didn't know anything about Dalton Schultz because they wouldn't let him play.
Yeah. He was just sitting there behind Witten, and it was just like Witten, all he could do was catch the ball and get down.
And then we had the other tight end that we drafted, and he couldn't even get any playing time because of the same thing. And he went on to get a ring with the Patriots and played one of the key players in the Super Bowl. What was his name?
Martellus Bryant.
Yeah. So it was just so that's what we got to get away from. We got to get into this situation where whoever we draft, first of all, we got to draft people that can play. We can't draft, and Big Time Show been talking about this on his show religiously. Shout out to Big Time. He's been talking about the fact that we can't draft anybody that we put on this field and they don't jump off the screen and just can't come out there and play.
Nah,
we just can't do it.
Nah, they gotta. That's why I said they gotta be aggressive, and they gotta get surefire starters that's gonna come in and turn this team that's gonna play day one.
Yeah, everybody you draft, and if we've been doing mock drafts, if you draft Genty, he's gonna play.
Yeah.
If you draft Ibuka or
Burden, they gonna play.
And I would even say in the third round, if you pick up like Tez Johnson or Trey Harris, the receivers,
Marion Hampton, they gonna play.
Yeah, it's just they're gonna play, and they're gonna play good. They're not gonna be sitting around just waiting for 3 years to develop. Even the two defensive tackles from Michigan, if we take one of them, they're gonna start day one and they're gonna play. They're gonna play good.
I agree.
So that's where we are. So you ready to go ahead and wrap? We've been on a while.
And, we can go ahead and wrap. Y'all make sure that we got the Super Bowl tomorrow, so be on the lookout. We're gonna come back and talk about that after the game. We're gonna come back probably Monday or Tuesday and talk about that. And so you all make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe. And it's been fun on a Saturday Night Live, reminiscing on all of the good Cowboy games. So follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Follow us on TikTok as well. Everything is the same. It's Gen to Gen Cast. And make sure you hit the like button, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see when we go live.
And you're gonna work on creating our Cash App. So
yeah, I put the Cash App in the description. It's already in it's in the description. So y'all just look in the description, and then you'll see the Cash App. And if you want to make a donation, go right ahead.
So what we're gonna do, we're still trying to build our channel and build our following. So a lot of the content creators, they do the Cash App, and so what we'll do, just like everybody else does, we're gonna just put it right back into the show, get our production and everything better than it is. And we got a few things we're working on. So some of these things, I was talking to Stargazer last week, and we're gonna do a show with her. Shout out to Star. Her and I were talking about how it's hard doing these shows. It ain't like you can just jump up and, you got to put some work into it. It takes time. It's a lot of hard work. So, but you want to invest in it and try to make it, real good production. So we kind of doing it as we can. So, but hopefully when we do content, it'll be, something good. But yeah, we working on it, trying to get everything better and improve what we're doing, and gonna try to collab with some other content creators too, and just try to hook up with them and do some things so people can just tune in and check out our content with other people.
That's right. So y'all be on the lookout for that. We'll post it in advance when we do hook up with Stargazer, and we got Big Time Show coming up, and some other content creators too that we're gonna get on there. So we'll be posting everything, and you all make sure you continue to support. We appreciate all of the likes and comments and the views that we do get. And so it's the off season right now, and so we're keeping it rolling. We haven't even made a year yet, and so we almost there. And hey, we're gonna keep it going, and we're gonna ride till the wheels fall off. So y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.